Merry Christmas, everyone. Grab some hot chocolate and throw on your favorite Christmas song, because today we're going to be discussing Christmas horror films. An odd subgenre, Christmas horror attempts to take the warm, cozy feeling of the holiday and make us scared and uncomfortable. There is a lot of Christmas horror movies, some better than others. Some are now iconic, like Krampus and Silent Night, Deadly Night. But if you ask me, there's only one Christmas horror film that really matters, and its impact is bigger than you might think. This year, one of the greatest holiday horror movies ever made is celebrating its 45th anniversary, that being the 1974 film Black Christmas, directed by Bob Clark. Yes, the same man who made A Christmas Story. Man, imagine a world where this movie got the 24-hour marathons on Christmas Day. Black Christmas is a movie that is often regarded as the first slasher film. A lot of the cliches and tropes associated with the genre started with this movie. Many people often credit Halloween for these tropes, even though that film came out 4 years later. Halloween was a critical and financial success, while Black Christmas was kind of a failure at the time. It was lambasted by critics and didn't fare too well at the box office either. Thankfully, over the years, it began to grow a proper cult following and is now getting the recognition it deserves, because Black Christmas is a damn good horror film. The plot is rather straightforward. Girls in a sorority house celebrating the holidays when a strange man makes his way into the house and starts hiding in the attic. From there, making very unsettling phone calls and slowly picking them off one by one.
Expanded his act. Could that be one person? No, Claire, that's the Mormon Tabernacle Choir doing their annual obscene phone call.
Much like Halloween, the true fear comes from the simplicity and the unexplained. The killer's motivation and backstory is never given to us, and some may call that lazy, but in the context of the film, I think it's truly terrifying. It's very similar to that urban legend about the babysitter getting disturbing phone calls from a man inside the house. Billy's phone calls, combined with the constant POV shots of him stalking the women in the house, gives me this surreal feeling of anxiety. The thought of you being not alone, always being watched. Much like Halloween, subtlety is Black Christmas's biggest strength. Take that and combine it with a truly upsetting ending, and Black Christmas ends up being one of the best horror films of the 70s. The fact that the entire film ends on one big misunderstanding is so infuriating, and with the final scene it leaves you with this awful feeling in the pit of your stomach.
Xmas, it's me, Billy.
Like I mentioned earlier, upon release in 1974, Black Christmas was not taken too well. It was poorly received critically and financially, which may have been for the best. Popular horror films in the 70s all got sequels, yet Black Christmas remained just one film for the longest time. Unfortunately, nothing lasts forever. The early to mid 2000s was not a very good time for horror, if you ask me. It was the start of the reboot trend that's going very strong today even. Nothing was safe. Any classic horror movie with even the slightest following would get a big Hollywood remake. Black Christmas was no exception. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Black Xmas. Released in 2006, directed by Glenn Morgan, a man who very much cared about the original Black Christmas, Black Xmas is a very frustrating movie. Not because of the film's quality, as a matter of fact, I was actually impressed by this movie. In a world where horror remakes usually suck, Black Xmas tried its hardest to not suck. But why is it frustrating? Because it does that thing I hate in horror movies, where it over-explains everything. Remember all the super creepy shit we didn't know anything about in the original film? Well, Black Xmas decides to go ahead and give us all the answers. Why is Billy killing people? Because he was mentally abused and psychologically scarred as a child. Why does he choose this specific sorority house? Because it used to be the house he lived in. Who is Agnes? It's his sister. It's a lazy way of making your horror film stand out from the original, and I'm not a fan of it. Rob Zombie did the same thing for his Halloween remake, and yep, that's certainly a movie that exists. In fact, for the longest time, I always said that Black Xmas and Halloween 2007 were very similar, but upon rewatching it, I was wrong. Now, don't get me wrong, Black Xmas isn't a fantastic movie or really even a good remake of the '74 film, but what it is a decent little slasher film. I was expecting a film with obnoxious characters, shit writing, and awful attempts at horror, and I was surprised. I got likable characters, good writing, and decent attempts at horror. I was expecting a lot of jump scares, and even though there's some unnecessarily loud noises, most of the horror just relies on being gross and uncomfortable. This is a gory, gruesome movie. Some of the blood and gore can be a bit intense at times. Apparently the original cut was a lot more tame and not nearly as gross, until one day Satan himself came to the set and demanded more gore, as films like Saw and Hostel were two very popular movies that were notorious for their gore. The director agreed, but he wasn't very happy about it. Thankfully, Satan didn't force too many other unnecessary changes, and Glenn Morgan was able to make the movie he wanted to make. Man, look at this movie. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's some really nice shots here, and the entire house radiates such a warm, cozy feeling. Seeing the pretty decorations almost makes you forget about the terrible murder twins. Overall, I found a lot of enjoyment in Black Xmas. The acting was good, the visuals are fantastic, and the gore, while unnecessary, is very well done. However, some of the film's negative reputation may come from the marketing. Behind the director's back, the devil himself decided to lie and deceive the audience, filming kill scenes that weren't in the movie meant specifically for the trailer. It's one thing if something is filmed with intentions of being in the movie but gets cut. This is just false marketing, making the movie look like something it wasn't. The trailer makes the movie look like a non-stop roller coaster, when in reality, the movie starts a bit slow and really picks up in the last 20 minutes. Glenn Morgan was obviously not okay with this. He got understandably very angry and vowed to never work with the Weinsteins again. Much like the original, Black Xmas came and went. It was again bashed by critics and failed at the box office. Dimension Films was hoping this be their big Christmas moneymaker like Scream was back in 1996, but with awful reviews and bad word of mouth about the marketing, the movie flopped. This should by all means be the end of the Black Christmas story, but of course it's not, because companies never learn. After Halloween 2018, Universal was hungry for more successful horror movie remakes, so teaming up again with Jason Blum, they have delivered unto us another remake of Black Christmas, although maybe the word reimagining is the proper term. Directed by Sofia Takal, Black Christmas 2019 is a film about sorority girls getting killed by frat boys. On a surface level, it has similarities to the original, and it's about sorority girls getting killed by a killer, only now there's multiple killers and they hate women. Upon the first trailer, it was obvious that this would be a girl power movie meant to empower women. There's nothing wrong with that, as some of the best horror films of all time are films that empower women. Nonetheless, I was hoping the movie would at least be a fun, enjoyable time.
Funny guy. What? Funny guy over here.
Me and my friends went to see it opening weekend. It was a 6:30 p.m. showing on a Saturday, so I was expecting a decent-sized crowd. And
Storytelling started with our indigenous people.
There's nobody in the theater.
Can anyone give me?
There's nobody here. Merry Christmas.
We're late and no one's here.
A completely empty showing on opening weekend. Surely a sign of good things to come. Black Christmas has got to be one of the most ham-fisted, preachy, and annoying horror films I have ever seen. It's way too obnoxious with its message. You're gonna end up rolling your eyes a good few times before the movie ends. I vividly remember my friend sitting next to me constantly saying, "Oh, you've gotta be kidding me." I guess we could talk about the horror first. The first kill is in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and it's fine. It's a girl getting stabbed with an icicle. Then it takes 40 minutes to show us anything else. Every kill is lame and cuts away before we can really see anything. I imagine this film was probably shot as an R-rated horror film and then got cut down to PG-13, as a lot of the kills and maybe some of the more intense scenes feel like they get cut off too early. I imagine an unrated cut will probably come out on Blu-ray. Okay, so spoiler time. The frat boys are killing the sorority girls because the founder of this college was a sexist and used black magic to brainwash boys into killing women because women are a menace to society, or something like that. It's really dumb. It comes out of nowhere, and it's so annoying. I shit you not. There is a scene where a guy starts to get brainwashed and he says, "What's happening?" And a frat boy replies, "It's just the founder drawing out your inner alpha." The acting is fine, I have no real issues with it, but the writing is just difficult to sit through. What a mess of a movie. Now, I'm not a woman, nor have I ever been sexually attacked, so am I allowed to criticize this movie? Yes, of course I am. Black Christmas 2019 just doesn't do much to stand out from every generic slasher we get nowadays. And no, I don't just hate it because it's called Black Christmas. Change the name and throw it on Netflix, and I'd still have the same issues with it. The film has a message, there's something here that somebody wanted to say, but I feel the execution was just sloppy.
So, what'd you guys think of the movie?
Oh my god!
What did you think, audience?
This was one of the worst movies I've seen all year! 3 for 3, because for the third time in a row, Black Christmas failed to leave an impression, getting abysmal reviews and absolutely flopping at the box office. I really hope this is the end for this series. The original is great and it deserves to be watched by everyone this holiday. Maybe even the 06 remake if you want some more intensity, but dear God, please don't go see this new one. There are better things to do this Christmas season. I'm gonna go watch Santa Claus 2, The Escape Clause. Y'all have a Merry Christmas, everyone.
Christmas Eve, his family became his victims. What have you done?